Today I fucked up by accidentally shared nude photos of my GF and me to her very religious parents. Throwaway, blah blah blah, here goes. This today I fucked up is only about 2 hours ago, situation still developing. Any advice is welcome. Context: so I've been dating this amazing woman for almost 4 years. Went to the same uni, graduated together, lost virginities together, and we've been having an amazing relationship, both in physical and emotional sense. I came from a secular family and she comes from a very religious family, though she's having doubts about religions as of late. My parents have been very good to my GF, but her parents don't like me very much because of racial and political reasons and because they know I'm not really a religious person. But still, my GF stuck with me ever since, even though her parents doesn't ever stop badmouthing me. If you want to know my GF's parents' behavior, try reading up r/raised by narcissists and r/justnomil. I've collected a fair amount of porn photo collection, particularly the artsy ones, MetArt, XArt etc., and have been wanting to photograph my GF in a similar sense. Due to her having discovered her sexual sides, she agrees and actually enjoys having to pose according to my whims. It's been about 2 years since we've been doing this and so far nothing slips by. We're very careful about the risks of our photos leaking out. That is until today. My GF have been using this beta old phone, and she recently switched to a newer mid-range phone. She gave her old phone to her little sister who's still living with her parents. So we booked an amazing Airbnb on our days off, and started taking photos with my GF's new phone. And I started editing the pictures in Google Photos, not realizing what I've been doing. Then we relaxed, cooked some French fries and watched Godfather 2. Then my GF got a call from my parents, sounding furious, and my GF started crying. Her parents demanded why does she have very explicit pictures with me, whom they disapprove since day one. Her parents told my GF that GF's little sister got our nude photos, and forwarded it to them. In a panic, we begin searching our social media posts, fearing that we shared our photos by mistake. Instagram. Nope, our friends didn't see anything in our posts or Instastory. WhatsApp/Facebook. Nope, we didn't post anything, nothing at all. Then a bulb turned off in my head, and I looked to GF's Google photo settings and GF's Google account setting in the web. To my absolute horror, her old phone, which had been given to her little sister, still have access to every data that my GF have, including passwords, two-factor authentication, emails, and worst, Google Photo backup and sync photos. What GF didn't realize is she forgot to log off her Google account in her old phone. In order for her photos to be always backed up, she turned on the synchronization in her Google Photos app in both phones. If you're familiar with Google Photos or if you work in IT, you know where this is going. You see, every time I take a picture with the new phone, those pictures shows up in the old phone now belonging to GF's little sister. So now, her parents are furious with her and me, suspecting that I've just been using her for sexual purposes and trying to get her pregnant, and now they're coming to my GF's place, which is 4 hours apart from their home, demanding explanations. Now, I love this girl to death, so I've been preparing mentally to talk with her parents about all this. I guess the only silver lining is that our photos didn't leak out to our friends/colleagues/public. Wish me luck, guys. Too long didn't read. Google Photos sync accidentally shared my GF's explicit photo in her phone with her little sister's phone, who told her parents. Now her parents is coming to town and I've been preparing to face the nuclear fallout. Edit, after 6 months, here's an update. Forgot to log out of Google. No, you forgot to factory reset that phone. Never give away a phone without a complete wipe. GF's sister is a complete ass toe. Who would get into their sister's Google account, dig for things and then send those things to their strict parents? Seriously. Just remember, however difficult and stressful this is for you, it's 10x worse for your GF. Good luck. Deleted. Advice for everyone: factory reset your old phones, particularly before selling them or giving them away. As for I think /you/cynically sane has some really good advice, but should have bolded this part: do not try to drive a wedge between her and them. Your GF and her parents. No need to make this fuck up even worse than it already is. Dash. Edit. Fixed username I linked to. Apparently I need glasses because I'm blind. Get a pentagram and put it on your door. Problem solved. Today I fucked up by lying about an allergy at a restaurant and ending up in the emergency room. I've posted this on a Meet a Asshole and everyone on that thread kept telling me to post here, so be aware because I don't want you to read this again. I met this girl on Tinder and we really hit it off. I asked her out on a date to a cozy restaurant in our small town, Gainesville, Florida. I had to take the bus there. My moped broke down last week, which is another story of its own, and she lived close the restaurant, so it was convenient. The date was going okay. It was kind of awkward at first because we just talked about the cold weather for 5 minutes, so I decided to break the tension. A while ago, I heard about a life pro tip where if you order French fries at a restaurant without salt, they have to make a fresh batch for you. I've been to this restaurant before and the guac is really good on some days and okay on other days. When the waitress came in, we ordered chips and guac. I then asked the waitress, "Does the guac have onions?" To which she responded, "Yes, it does." I then proceeded to tell her, "I have an extremely severe allergy to onions, can we get guac with no onions?" I told her I have an extremely severe allergy, so she doesn't just take the guac they currently have and remove the onions. This forces them to make a fresh batch from scratch. After the waitress left, my date asked me, "Are you really allergic?" To which I said no, but this way, we get fresh guac. She was pretty impressed, like, damn, I'm stealing this one. When the guac came in, I asked her to give us onions on the side for my date. The rest of the date went well. We ordered some drinks first and then food later. What I forgot to do when I was ordering food was to tell her not to put any onions in my food. When I got my dish, I took about 2 to 3 bites and the waitress came running to me frantically saying that there are onions in the food. She thought it was her fault for not mentioning it to the chefs. I didn't know how to react, so I just kind of dropped the food from my mouth and into the plate. Her superior walks in during this time and he's asking if everything is okay, so I tell him that I forgot to mention not to put onions and that I have a severe allergy. The first thing the manager does is apologize profusely and then ask if he should call an ambulance. Side note, I don't have any allergies at all and neither does anyone in my family or any of my friends. I have no idea what a severe allergic response looks like, but I know that it like swells up your face and for some reason, I thought it makes you cough a lot. I don't know why I thought that. Cutscene to now, I start kind of coughing, but assure him that everything is going to be fine. I tell him, I barely got any onions in the bite. My date at this time went from kind of giggling a bit, when the waitress came in, to just straight up serious after all the attention just turned to us. I told them not to worry about calling an ambulance, and that I'm okay enough to go to the emergency room myself. I asked for the check but they insisted on me not paying. Not like we ate anyway, but I still left a $20 for the waitress and assured her and the manager that it was only my fault and not the waitress's fault at all. After leaving, my date was half WTF and half laughing at the stupidity of this whole thing. I shot my shot and asked her if she'd just like to grab pizza over at her place, but she said she has to study. Now it is important to note that the bus stop where I grab my bus to go home is right opposite the restaurant. I'm sitting there looking at cats fetching stuff on Reddit when the supervisor pulls up in his car at the stop. He thinks that I am taking the bus to the emergency room. He kept insisting that he drop me to the emergency room. He felt responsible and didn't want anything to happen to me. I finally gave up and told him, okay. In my head, I thought I'd just let him drop me there and then I'll take an Uber back home. However, we get there and he wants to come in to make sure everything is okay. I'm like, hey man, trust me, I'm okay. Nothing is going to happen to me. You can leave. It was so awkward. We were parked and he kept asking if I'm sure and I'm like, yes I'm sure, don't worry, please leave, you don't have to come in with me. At the end he said he'd just walk me in, use the restroom and leave. We walk in the emergency room, and I'm the only person there. Great. I had to walk to the nurse and tell her that I might be having a slight allergic reaction. Supervisor uses the restroom and asks again if everything is fine, and I'm like, yes, everything is going to be okay. Thank you so much for everything. He gives me his number and tells me to inform him once I'm out. Here I am, a healthy 25-year-old adult, having to pay $500 to visit a fucking emergency room for no fucking reason. Another nurse came up to me to take my vitals, and the doctor asked what was wrong, and I had to sheepishly tell him, I think I might have been having an allergic reaction. He says, "Are you allergic to anything?" And I go, "No." He gave me a Benadryl and sent me out. I then spent another $25 to Uber home. I told what happened to my friend, and she said I was the worst kind of asshole. I learned my lesson and will never pretend to have an allergy again. Too long didn't read, pretended to have an allergy to get fresh guac to impress my date. Got served the food I was fake allergic to, and was forced to visit the ER. Edit, I guess I'm George Costanza now. Sorry everyone. What would George Costanza do in this situation? I can't believe you let it go that far. I would have eventually just given up, told the truth. Honestly, I feel like saying, could we please get some fresh guac? Would get you some fresh guac if you were nice about it. My favorite sushi place, they'll give you the standard wasabi from powder. If you ask for fresh wasabi, they'll grind and mix it for you. Plot twist, the manager knew you were lying and wanted to teach you a lesson, make you admit it. I fully believe this is the case. What restaurant manager insists on giving you a ride to the ed and walks you in to make sure you register despite looking totally fine? The guy who wants to see you pay for your mistake. A+ reading. You're still the asshole, though. Ha 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 ha. The $500 for visiting A&E is sort of karma for lying about having an allergy. Next time, just say that you hate onions, not have an allergy to them. As a chef, you deserve what you got. Fake allergies are a dick fucking move. I have to clean my whole station and put everyone else's food on hold while I deal with the allergy, which if I'm making someone happy that would die/be very uncomfortable, that's cool. It's why I'm a chef, making people feel good. You are fucking that up. Just stop it. As someone who actually has a bad food allergy, thank you very much for taking us seriously. Today I fucked up by getting my work raided by the SWAT team. So today, about 5 minutes before my shift started, I was looking at the desk in the back and realized a small circular object that looked like an alien. It had 2 eyes, then a mouth that was pretty small at the bottom of it. Stupid me, not knowing what the fuck it was, decides to press both of the buttons to see if it did anything or what it was, and the mouth part of the object lit up red for a second. Holding it in my hand, my manager walks past and I say, "Hey Kyle, what's this thing?" His eyes go into panic mode and says, "Whatever you do, do not press that button." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" "It's the silent alarm, put it back." I just think, oh fuck. I kinda pressed it like 2 minutes ago. Wait, are you being serious? Yeah, fuck. He goes and tells my other manager, and they're like, "Well shit, they know the cops are gonna show up any second, since even if we called them, they are required to come anyways." To add to this, before they come in, they are supposed to call the store to check to see if it was a false alarm, or if we didn't answer, there was actually an emergency. Well, guess what? Our phone system was down today, so we couldn't receive calls. A few minutes later, as I'm working, all of my co-workers and managers start looking outside like, holy shit. I'm like, what? Turns out the whole perimeter was being surrounded by law enforcement. Nothing happens for a couple more minutes until a whole fleet of cops flood the building. One of them starts talking with my managers while the others start searching the whole restaurant. Everyone in the building eating was like, what the actual fuck is going on? After the whole situation was explained, everything was resolved, and they all left, but boy was it a fuck up on my part. Lesson learned? Don't push random buttons at work. To add even more to this, 2 of the cops who raided the place earlier came in a few hours later to get something to eat. I obviously gave them their food for free, and they were really happy about that. One of them asked me, so who was the fucker who set off the alarm? I was just like, that would be me, officer, and start explaining the story of how it happened. They were both laughing, said it was fine and that it happens all the time, surprisingly. They were just happy they got some free dinner, and I'm glad I could make their night a little better. Smile. Too long didn't read, pressed a random button at work that ended up being the silent alarm. SWAT team surrounded the perimeter and raided the building, came back and got some free food later. Edit, you guys are probably right in saying it wasn't the SWAT team. I didn't know any better, but I remember there being maybe 5 cops inside and more outside, very heavily armed, way more armed than I've seen normal cops. Either way, it was defiantly a spectacle to watch. Edit 2, here's a picture of the alarm that I clicked. You can see how it kinda looks like an alien/toy. Credit to /you/Streaming Furby for finding that pic. I was going to just take a picture of it at work tomorrow, but now you guys don't have to wait. Why is there a dedicated SWAT button? You work at a bank or other high security institution. Edit, okay, it was probably a call the cops button. Soon the police called, nobody answered the phone, so they thought it was code red and sent out the SWAT team. Deleted. I was told about the silent alarm at the pizza place I worked at, which was good because it was part of the alarm system for the whole restaurant. Basically, we would have to hit the middle row of numbers in a 10-key type setup in full view of anyone in the front of the restaurant. I'm lucky that our manual basically said, if we're robbed, don't be a hero. Just do what they say because this is a pizza place. Oh, and my boyfriend worked there after I quit. They didn't tell him about the alarm. That's the attitude in literally every retail environment in the UK. Don't be a hero, it's only pizza/clothes/stock/whatever. They've got insurance for robberies, they don't have insurance for staff being silly idiots and getting themselves kneecapped. Worked at a movie theater that had 2 on either side of the box office room. One day when I was working as a manager, I picked up the phone in the back room. Thank you for calling, how can I help you today? This is Officer so-and-so from the HPD. How are you doing today? Great, what can I do for you? Well, I've got about 20 officers that need to know what's going on there today. In dumbfounded silence. Someone has pressed the silent alarm, and has repeatedly been pressing it for the last 15 minutes. It is policy to make a call to check and see and get an employee to come outside and verify I'm all clear. I will be right out, sir. Sorry to bother you guys. It's alright, it happens, but we are still gonna need someone outside pretty quick. As I am freaking out of trying to remember where the buttons were, I look in the box office to see one of the employees leaning, sitting back with his foot tapping the underside of the counter. Hey, FING, stop hitting the FING counter, you called the cops with the silent alarm. I've never seen a fairly large guy turn totally pale, but he sure as hell lost all color in his face. I went out and explained everything to the officers in the giant seat van, that it was a bored employee, not an armed moviegoer angry about concession prices that had brought them there. They reassured me that it happens and just be sure to tell people where they're located. Another situation like this is how most of the managerial staff found out there was a button in the little miniature box office that was inside the building after someone was hammering something on that desk, then the phone rang. Sorry if something messed up, mobile. Edit. Second story. Totally not your fault, your supervisor should have told you about the alarm and when to use it. But we don't live in a perfect society and usually the weakest person gets the blame. In all seriousness, yes, it happens all the time. Normally when a panic alarm or silent hold-up alarm is pushed, the alarm company gets the call and calls the local authorities immediately. They don't make a call into the business on these types of alarms. Then they will go and set up a containment around the building. Normally not with SWAT, as they take so long for them to get dressed and prepared, depending what the officers see, normal business going in or out or no walk-ins or walkouts. They either decide to go inside the business and make contact or have their dispatchers make a call into the business to see what's going on. Best thing to do is 1. Call your alarm company and explain what happened, and 2. Call local PD and explain what happened. They may send officers anyway just to make sure everything is okay, but at least they know that there was some sort of employee error. Source: I'm a 911 dispatcher.